Well, today's fishing adventure brings us out to Heath Lake, which is in the Rocky Mountain public fishing area near Rome, Georgia. This is a trophy managed lake here. It's only open from the 1st to the 10th every month. And I like coming out here right after the deer season begins like this. You usually have the place to yourself, especially in the afternoon. I had 3 or 4 boats leaving, and the guy said they caught some small fish today. So maybe we'll get lucky. I'm trying to learn how to ID fish. There's a bunch of fish down there, but I don't know what species. Maybe they're shad. Kind of act like shad. They're pretty big and they're all loosely packed together. I guess they could be crappie down there as well. Don't think all those fish are bass. I don't know. I like the forward facing though, it's cool. I'm working with the 5.8 bellows gill and with Oliver's 20-gram OG by Cast, kind of a surface walking type bait. It actually runs a little subsurface as well. Very erratic, very different. I don't think they've seen this too much, so I decided to give it a try, see what happens. Got the wind picking up. Gonna fish this little windbreak on the corner of this island and down this shade line here. I tried the rock pile. I found the rock pile really easy with the forward facing. I couldn't get any bites on there. There's a lot of rock piles all throughout this lake. It was set up real nice for habitat wise. When they built it, they have a lot of good covers. And oh, they left the trees. Oh wow, there's something over there just going crazy. I wonder if that's striper. I wonder if they got any hybrids in here. That looked awfully big. I know I've talked about this one before, but I love shade lines. I learned that with the electrofishing boat years ago, just doing lake surveys, and mainly to get out of the sun. I would put the boat into the shade, and it would be in an area that we had shocked earlier in the day and didn't find any fish. And then once the shade came in, you'd pick fish up there. And with a shock boat, it's easier to find fish, obviously. But that shade line trick really is real apparent with an electrofishing rig. You can find all kind of fish, and generally the fish that'll be sitting in the shade line are feeders. They're actively hunting, and it's because, oh look at there, that's a nice fish. Turn this down. The shade gives the bass a visual advantage. They can't be seen in the shade as easily as they can out in the sunlight, so they'll hide in the shade to try to trick something into getting close to them. Oh, got another boat coming in for the afternoon fishing. A lot of fish on the graph. Just gonna try covering water quickly and move until I can find some kind of pattern. Hopefully I can find some kind of pattern here. I haven't been up here in a long time. I used to live pretty close by, but I live down in Florida now, for anybody new. And I wanted to get this thing out here though, because I do know the lay of this lake a little bit better. And I can see how, like, it depends on the lake that you're in as to how well this forward facing sonar works. Back home where all the plants and everything in Central Florida, it's hard to see the fish on there. There's just so much stuff in the water. But here, where it's deeper and cleaner, it's working really, really well. So I have to do some more practice with it. I like it for surveying ponds. I've used it a few times doing that. Just knowing where to throw a cast net or drop some live bait down. Get a good idea of where you can see the crappie on there pretty easily. They'll be bunched up. I'm not exactly sure what those fish are. It might be crappie. They're kind of shaped like crappie, but they're moving around awfully fast. Crappie in the ponds don't move like that. So we kind of got a little double whammy here. We've got wind coming around, creating some current, and shade coming down, creating a shade line. So that's what drew me over here. Maybe I'll get lucky. I'm trying to move my head too fast. I don't want the camera to look like the Blair Witch Project. But I've caught a few nice bass out here, had some nice stringers. The older gentleman I just spoke to in the parking lot said he had a pretty good day, but he caught a lot of small fish. And that's something they'll have to watch it, even though this is a bigger lake. I think it's around 300 acres. It can certainly get stunted with bass. I noticed none of those guys were coming out with any stringers of fish. And even though lake management is, a good bit different than pond management, lakes will you'll still get the same problems with lakes in crowded fish populations due to lack of harvest. It's really hard to get guys to keep any fish anymore. And a lot of our ponds and small lakes are crowded with predator species. And despite as hard as you try to explain to guys that some harvest is necessary, they just don't listen. Catch and release has been beat into everybody's head for 40 years now, and I don't know if anybody will ever listen to me. Quite honestly, I'm really proud for the 20,000 or so folks that do. I never thought I'd have that many folks following. Oh, maybe we can make some ground on the millions that don't listen. I certainly hope so. I'd like to think science matters and studying matters. Now, one thing you can notice right over there, you see that green box on the edge of the lake? That is an automatic fish feeder. Oh Lord, I'm squirrel fishing. Oh, I got lucky. So they're doing the same thing that we're doing, just on a bigger level with the fish feed. They're giving the bluegill an advantage, so the other fish can't compete them, because fish like crappie and other predatory fish won't take the feed, but the bluegill will. So bigger, healthier bluegill have more eggs, have larger spawns, and that helps us keep a beneficial forage in the lake. It's really good. It really helps. If you got a pond and you start feeding it, you'll notice what's going on there. Boy, that boat bait looks good. I thought something might smack that. And here I am just fishing, not paying attention to the graph. It shows me right where the fish are again. That's all right. Get some casting practice in. So yeah, larger, healthier bluegill due to the feeder create larger, healthier bass because of the increased weight that they're eating. And it's a real good way to have big fish in the lake. First cast on the Spro trap. Not bad. Let's see if I can do something with him. I'm just yo-yoing it down there. I saw him a little bit on the graph, but got him hooked every kind of way.